So when you finished university, you went on to the West End and played Marius in Les Miserables. Now, how did that come about? Because that was your first ever, I'm guessing right, first ever performance or role on the West End stage.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like I said, I'd finished university and then did my postgrad degree, my postgrad year, I suppose, diploma it was, at the Royal Academy of Music. And Les Mis came about because at the time when I was at the Royal Academy, I've told this story before, but there was a very famous production of My Fair Lady happening at the time that Trevor Nunn had directed with Jonathan Pryce and Martine McCutcheon. I don't know if you remember Martine McCutcheon. She was in EastEnders for years. I mean, this is probably, how old were you in about 2002, Reese? Were you even born?
2000, I was five in 2000, I would have been six.
Yeah. So that's when I was entering the industry, which is quite a sobering thought. But there was this production of My Fair Lady, and they were recasting for the second cast, and I think they were having trouble finding Freddie Eynsford Hill. I don't know if you know the show, but he's the sort of young juvenile, sort of chinless wonder. And they came into the Royal Academy, and a couple of people from the course, myself and a couple of other people, were auditioned for My Fair Lady for because Cameron McIntosh was producing that, and I didn't get it. But he said to me at the time, he said, "Look, when Les Mis, when we have auditions again for the recast of Les Mis, we'll get you in." He was true to his word, and I finished college about maybe 4 or 5 weeks early to go and start rehearsals for Les Mis. So it was sort of right place, right time, I suppose. But I also owe a great deal of gratitude and a debt of gratitude, I suppose, to Cameron for sort of plucking me out of college and going, right, on you go. And this was, I suppose, I think back on it now, and I think I'm incredibly lucky, A, to have had that sort of launch pad into the industry, but also B, to launch straight into such a sort of secure show. I suppose there was no thought of Les Mis closing, or there was no idea of, as it, it's still going now to this day. The realities of the theatre world, if you open a new show, there's no guarantee it's going to be running a week after. I've done plays and shows where we've run for a week and then closed because it's been no good or reviewed really poorly. But going into a show and having a year to sort of learn the ropes, learn how to be on stage, learn how to conduct yourself off stage, for right or for wrong, I suppose. That was a really big and very fortunate turn of events for me, I suppose. Are you a fan of the show, Reese? Do you know it well?
Les Miserables.
Yeah.
Les Miserables growing up has always been, I've always tried to avoid Les Mis because it was so popular. When you try it, you don't want to be the person to be jumping on the bandwagon, but I caught the bug. I caught the Les Mis bug when I was in sixth form, and as I was in sixth form, the film was released, and you were in it.
Yeah, for about 5 seconds. Yeah.
Hey, you made an impact though, because I was like, I recognize your face, and then I looked you up, and then the clip turned up, and I was like, oh my god, yeah, that's the Guardsman. He had a really good voice because I went with a. So actually, I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you later down the line about the film, but I might as well now. So, how did that come about, and what was it like to be performing with the likes of Eddie Redmayne?
Yeah, I'd been in this. So my first job was Marius in the West End, and then about a decade later, I'd been to America and lived there for a little bit. And I came back, and I was sort of twiddling my thumbs and not really getting much work. And I got a call sort of out of the blue from Cameron's office. Again, I owe a great deal of gratitude to them, but they asked me sort of really out of the blue to come and play Grantaire, who's the drunk student in the 25th anniversary concert. I was was very happy to be part of that. And then off the back of that, Cameron sort of came up to me. I remember we were rehearsing the 25th anniversary, and Cameron came up to me and said, "You've grown up a bit, and your voice has grown up a bit as well. Would you like to come and play Javert?" I thought, oh, sure about that. I mean, I'm desperately excited, but I'm not sure I'm a natural Javert. So I came in and sung for him and for the team, and they obviously thought it was a good fit. And so the sort of in the wake of the 25th anniversary, Alfie Boe and Matt Lucas and myself all sort of kept going in the show in town with some other fantastic people as well. I don't mean to disclude anyone else, but you know, those would be the people that you'd know from the 25th anniversary. And it was during that run, while I was playing Javert, it was during that year that the film sort of took off, and it was a slight, I don't think I'd be talking out of turn to say there was a slightly strange atmosphere backstage at the theatre, because obviously we all felt like we were telling this story night in, night out. And there were a lot of people, I suppose, on that stage, quite rightly sort of thinking, oh, well, probably, you know, would be no stretch of the imagination to think we might be asked to be involved in the film. I think pretty much everybody got the chance to audition. But because it was Tom Hooper directing and working title producing and all of this kind of stuff, it sort of, there was a lot of people making a lot of decisions. So it wasn't really just Cameron's decisions who ended up in the film. But it was a very strange feeling doing the show at night as Javert, and then going in the next day to Pinewood and filming on the set, which felt like you really were on the streets of Paris. It was the oddest thing actually was being on this incredible film set that felt about as real life as it possibly could do, and then getting bussed into the theatre that evening and sort of stepping out onto the stage and just thinking, oh, this is just a bit shit, really. No, this doesn't really feel like it should do. We're used to this epic film set now. But, you know, I suppose I must have been, I didn't really shoot for all that long. I was only there maybe for 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, you know, Eddie was very admirable to watch. I really admire him as an actor, and he was always deep in discussion with Tom Hooper. I think Tom lent on him a lot, and his intellect. I really enjoyed watching Hugh Jackman work. For some reason, I got left on set while they filmed Bring Him Home in the little cafe there. I don't quite know how. I don't think I was really allowed to be there, and I didn't linger on purpose. But I was on set when they filmed that, and that was really special to witness. And yeah, I mean, those were the sorts of, those are the main guys when I was there, as well as, you know, all of the students, a lot of whom I knew from the stage show, and loads of supporting artists for all the sort of fight scenes and stuff like that. And, you know, cannons going off left, right, and centre. There was one day where we did the sort of final assault on the students, and I think we only did 2 takes that day, because we did the entire sequence. So there were all the stunt performers, all the cannons going off, and everybody singing at the same time. It was a joy to be a part of, I have to say. And it's one of the few things, I'm not very good at watching myself back on screen, if I'm honest. You know, I've done TV and film and I've never seen it, but I went to the cast and crew screening of that, and I thought they did a brilliant job. It must be so hard putting such a beloved show like that on screen, and also making it something slightly different. I don't know, what did you think of the film? Because some people absolutely love it, some people I think find it hard because they have such an attachment to the stage show. What did you think?
I've never, here's the thing, I've never ever seen it live on stage, and that is for someone who's I'd say a big theatre person like myself, I should really get my ass in gear and go and watch it. But when I went to watch the film, I cried 4 times.
Did you?
Yeah, I cried 4 times. The 2 of them that I know was obviously I dreamed a dream because Anne Hathaway I thought she was brilliant.
Mm.
No, I remember the three. The kid, the one who played Gavroche, when he got killed, and Russell Crowe puts the medal on
Mm.
child. I thought, oh my God. And the third time was when Hugh Jackman, he's slowly passing away, and Anne Hathaway comes and says, "Look, I can't remember the actual lines," but then he goes, and I went. I went. So, but it's weird because in relation to Les Miserables, I actually know a guy who played Gavroche in the film with Liam Neeson and Jeffrey Rush.
Okay.
Yeah, his name's Shane Rose Goodser, and he played Gavroche in the film. And when he went to watch it, he said, "Yeah, it's all right, it's okay," because obviously he did the film, but it was just
Yeah.
it,
We're our own worst critics as well. I think that's,
yeah.
you know.